Hello students, welcome back. This is Professor Jitendra Acharya. In today's lecture, we are going to cover the theory part of belt conveyors. Now this is from your module number 3, that is design of belt conveyors. Now in the introduction part, we know that belt conveyors are traction type conveyors and it is a very much powerful material handling tool. Along with the hoisting mechanism, belt conveyors are the most widely used material handling tool in the industry. Using conveyor systems uh, is a good way to reduce the risk of musculoskeletal damage. That means while carrying a material from one place to another place, there might be a damage to a human, but that can be reduced by using belt conveyors. That means we just have to place a object on a belt conveyor and it will transport it to the end of the belt conveyor system through machine operated belt conveyors. They offer the good opportunity to improve productivity, reduce product handling and damage and minimize labor content. That means the operational cost gets reduced due to this belt conveyor system. Then belt conveyor can be more economical than the railways for the distance of 25 to 100 kilometers. So that much long belt conveyors can also be developed and they are more efficient than the conventional material handling system which is used as a railways, especially in coal mining or coal transport system where railways are preferred for the transportation. Then the major components of conveyors are the traction element, that is driving element, or we can call it as a belt. Then idlers or rollers over which the belt runs, then drive pulleys and take up unit at the end, then pulleys coupled to gears and motors. So gears and motors are again the components of conveyor system, and the peripheral device to drop and pick up the material from the belt. Then conveyors are generally classified as either unit load conveyors that are designed to handle specific uniform units such as cartons or pallets, or there might be some process conveyors that are designed to handle loose products such as sand, gravels, coffees, cookies, etc., which are fed to the machinery for further operation or mixing. Then it is quite common for manufacturing plants to combine both process conveyors and unit load conveyors for its total operation. Then there are another type of conveyor, that is roller conveyor, which is not subjected to complex state of loading, even though we found that it is designed with higher factor of safety. Then the next part of conveyor system is, or major component of the belt conveyor is idler. So idler is a supporting device for belt and the cargo, which moves the belt so as to reduce the running resistance. So for smooth operation of belt, the idler should be perfectly in a good condition to reduce the wear and tear, because belt runs above these rollers or idlers. And idlers qualities depends on the usage of the belt conveyor. Particularly the lifespan of the belt is mainly dependent on idlers. So, however, the maintenance costs of idler have become the major part of conveyor's operational cost. Then idlers need to have reasonable structure, durability in use, small ratio of steering resistance, reliability, and dust or coal dust cannot get in bearing. So that we have to take care of while using the idlers. So because once the coal dust or dust gets into the roller, it will offer a slippage instead of resistance to the belt, due to which the conveyor has a small running resistance and save energy and prolongs the service life. Conveyor belting parts. So what are the different belting parts of conveyor system? So that are carcass woven fabric or material for tensile strength, then skims, that is rubber layers between the carcass plates, then breakers. So breakers are nothing but it is a fabric coat above the carcass to break impact of the load. And the last part of belting is top cover, that means which we see as from the naked eyes. So top cover is nothing but a rubber that resists the cutting abrasion and sometimes chemical action on the belt conveyor. Then there are different categories and subcategories for each type of belt conveyor. So what are those categories? First one is gravity conveyor. So gravity conveyor are nothing but a non-powered conveyor which runs due to the natural gravity and typically used in trucks offloading or package sorting and assembly or kitting areas. So gravity is the cheapest form of the conveyor but lacks in product control. Then next is belt conveyor, which is typically used in package handling, raw material handling, small part handling. It is effectively used for elevation change or incline or decline applications. A more common application of belt conveyor which we can notice is at the checkout line at the grocery store, or if you are traveling through the plane, then we can see that at airports there are belt conveyors to carry your luggage after scanning at the counter. Powered roller conveyor. So again there are three types of powered roller conveyors. First one is live roller conveyor, which is typically used in general transport when product accumulation is not required. And minimum pressure conveyor. It is used in short sections of accumulation, general transport of product, and it is ideal for medium to lightweight loads such as package handling applications. Then third one is zero pressure conveyor. So it is commonly found in distribution centers where there is a variety of product. There we can find the application of this zero pressure conveyor. So it includes the buffering of product prior to sortation or packaging. It is also ideal for picking areas and palletizing areas, and this is used in high throughput systems. Then fourth type of category of conveyors is pallet conveyor. Then again there are two types of pallet conveyors. One is drag chain pallet conveyor and second is roller pallet conveyor. So drag chain is nothing but it is used where extremely heavy loads are to be handled and special pallet configurations are there. Then there is a huge temperature difference we have to handle. Then roller pallet conveyors are nothing but it is typically used again for heavy loads, but it is highly preferred where accumulation zones are in the pack out area. Then overhead conveyors, so it is especially used in the paint industry where trash removal is the issue. So their overhead conveyors are preferred, and in assembly lines the overhead conveyors are preferred. Then actually overhead conveyor is here the oldest form of the belt conveyors, which is still used in the industry because they are very reliable and require very much less maintenance as compared with the other type of conveyors. Then there are two types of overhead conveyors. First is tabletop chain, which is used for accumulation, package handling, filling, labeling and wash down applications. And magnetic slide conveyors are used in metal stamping, chip removal and small part transporter applications. Like we see the major components of belt conveyor system, the conveyor belting types are also there, where belt type is depending on the plies. So multiply, then reduced ply and steel carcass and solid woven. So these are the belting types. So multiply is what? Multiply carcass separated by schemes or traditional trade-off between stiffness and strength. Then what is reduced ply? So reduced ply is nothing but it is a complex interwoven carcass and it is independent of separate plies. Less stiff is there, thin layer is there, and along with the thin belt, it at the same time it is a of same strength. Then steel carcass is nothing but a lengthwise steel belts are there. It is of high tensile strength and heavy ores and for long runs where the distance is not an issue while the application is having a heavy load to carry out on the belt conveyors. These steel carcass conveyor belts are preferred. Then solid wovens, so it is nothing but carcass is impregnated with the elastomers. So elastomers are preferred where somewhat light to medium weight is to be transported from one place to another place. Then what are the different requirements of belts? So belt requirements are it should have adequate length, then good longitudinal and lateral flexibility should be there, high wear resistance should be there, freedom from the ply separation due to repeated bending, then belt should be low elastic and low permanent elongation should be there. Then at the same time the rubber used should be low water absorbent, because once the moisture content is more, the belt weight will get increased and the efficiency of the conveyor system will be reduced. So it should be low in water absorption. Effect of moisture on strength and life of belt should be negligible, because once the rubber gets wet, its life gets reduced. So moisture content, it should not affect the life of the belt. Then there are advantages of belt conveyors. Like we said, for the distance between 25 to 100 kilometers. Normally in older days there was a railways are preferred for the coal handling or coal transportation. But nowadays instead of railways, the belts are preferred. Why? Because there are certain advantages over the railways. So likewise in industrial applications also, where we have to travel a smaller distance and we cannot handle or we cannot transport it manually. So those are the advantages of belt conveyor. So we'll see one by one. It is, first of all, it is a noiseless operation. Second one, it is large length can be covered for conveying the material from one place to another place. Then power consumption is very much less as compared to human material handling. Then life is longer because it is a continuous material transportation from one point to another point. Uh, to have a human for this material handling, it is very much time consuming as well as cumbersome job. So belts are preferred over the manual material handling. Then adaptability to different types of goods. Another advantage is ability to carry almost any bulk material. So if you just replace the belt material, that means instead of rubber we can have steel, then instead of having plain or flat belt we can have truffed belts. So just by replacing the type of belt we can handle any kind of material for the material transportation. Then there is a high reliability of operation, then it can transport material in any direction, then it can reduce the number of personals involved if we consider the manual transportation. Then another advantage is long periods between the maintenance. So operational cost as well as the maintenance cost is not an issue, because there is very much rare instance where we have to go for the maintenance of this belt conveyor system. Then independent of system due to its surrounds. So belt conveyor is an individual system. So whole system can be independent of the total industrial part. So we do not have to worry about its maintenance along with the other instruments in the industry. So it is totally independent for of its surrounding. Then reduced business cost. Now how it can reduce the business cost? Because its operational and maintenance cost is low, so ultimately it is reducing your total business cost. So these are the advantages of belt conveyor system over the traditional material handling system or conveying system, and that's why the belt conveyors are nowadays more preferable over any other type of material handling system. Then, as we have seen, there are certain advantages. That's why the belt conveyors are used. but along with that there are some disadvantages. So we will see those disadvantages one by one. First is accumulation is difficult. That means you cannot use the conveyor system for the storage. So accumulation is difficult. Then it is complicated in marshalling. Then the loss of lightweight bulk material carried away as dust or spilled from the belt along its path is another objectionable feature. Then continuous or periodic monitoring of belt is necessary. Just like we have said, if there is any moisture content, it will absorb in the rubbers and it will affect the life of that belt. So that's why the periodic monitoring is required. It is not necessary to take a maintenance. That belt we are not taking it under the maintenance, but we have to periodically check if there is any damage or not. So periodic monitoring is very much necessary. Heat affects the material of the belt. Of course, if there is any temperature gradient occurring on a regular basis, then it will affect the belt life. So heat affects the material of the belt and that may cause the problem in the maintenance of the belt. The normal design of belt conveyor is open. If your product needs to be contained or covers or drip pans, it can become expensive or cumbersome. So for a where we have to handle the airtight material, airtight containers or something like packaging industry, then you cannot use these belt conveyors because it is having a open belt system. So you can use it for only for the material handling. So where the contamination is an issue, we have to make a special arrangement over this open belt conveyor system for the transportation. We have to if we want to restrict the conditions while transporting it from one place to another, then we have to make the separate arrangements, and that is a cumbersome job as well as it is a costlier part. If the material is sticky, belt cleaning can be difficult and it is not very successful also. So you cannot remove all the sticky material from the rubber. So we have to replace it over the period of time. Then there is almost always a material carryover from belt discharge and this becomes a housekeeping problem. So if there is any spillage from the transported material, we have to keep checking it, or we have to monitor it and we have to clean it manually. There is no any automated system. We can make the special arrangement for this automation, but that is again a costlier part. So we have to periodically monitor that spillage. So this is a housekeeping task we have to deal with. Then if the material being conveyed is sticky, it will ultimately get transferred to the return side of the belt and then to the rollers and idlers. So not only the belt will get affected due to the sticky material handled, it will affect the rollers also because the top side of the belt on the top run, it will be going on the downside, or it will stick to the return rollers. So rollers will again gets affected and that will cause a problem in the maintenance. So that is a disadvantage of belt conveyor. Then what are the applications we can see? So applications are for moving loads, but bulk material in foundry, mining, cement industry. So number of applications are there where inline production is necessary. You can use these belt conveyors. Coal handling plants, like we have said, where we have to transport some kilometers also, then belt conveyors are used. Automotive sector, we have already seen a number of videos over the internet. So automotive sector, then agriculture, then food processing, pharmaceutical industry, chemical industry, where bottling and canning plants, then print finishing and packaging part. So you can take any example or any industrial application and you will find that there is a use for this belt conveyor for the material handling system. So these are various applications of belt conveyors. So thank you. We'll continue the next part in the next lecture.